So, hi. The biggest question I've got for the last 2 years is, where's your show? When is your show coming back? What about Odyssey with Yendi? Yendi, how are you doing? It's so good to see you. Where's Odyssey with Yendi? I'm here to tell you, we're back. Okay. So I know it felt like I took forever to come back into this space, but let me just explain. Let a girl explain. You guys remember that I put out an episode where my daughter Izzy and Neville Bell both interviewed me. And in that episode, I was asked the question about, actually, let me just show you the question.
Gonna have another child?
Oh, I can't believe you asked me that. Not Izzy shouting yes from the background. I'm not sure. The thing is, I've never only wanted one child. I am hoping, I actually do pray that the person I marry will want more children, or will want children. And
Especially a blush and all kind of thing. You.
I really enjoy being a mom, I take a lot of pride in being a mom, but also Israel has been advocating. She walk with placard in the home.
Man.
I want a sibling.
Even though Israel is going, yes.
Well, let me just say that when you write things out and make them plain, it feels unbelievable to have your prayers answered. I have met my husband. I love the sound of that. Let's go again. I am on to see my husband. I'm happy to see. Yeah, I got hitched. I met my husband. I actually met my husband in March 1st, 2022 is when I met him. He proposed, sit down, come close. He proposed on April 17, 2022. Call yourself March. April. March? April. I know. And I remember even my closest people were just like, wait a minute, what's going on? This is so not like you, because I'm the girl who will take my time. I am, well, sometimes, but I analyze a lot, and I want to make sure I get things right. And everything about meeting Omar felt right. Everything about our conversations felt right. Everything about our alignment felt right. I remember on my list that I wrote in the things that I would want in my husband, one of the top things on that list was, I want my husband to love God as much as I do. And I remember one of our first conversations, so we met on the night of the 1st of March. The day of the 2nd of March, we were having a conversation, and it was a really good conversation. And then in the evening, we were on the phone again and having another conversation. And we were on the phone for 2 hours. 2 whole hours. And at the end of the conversation, he said to me, is it okay with you if we pray before we come off of the phone? And I was like, is it okay with me? Yes. And that was one of the clues that I was just like, this may be my godsend. Safe to say, August 22, 2022. So now, make could call myself March, April, May, June, July, August. 5 months. We got married, and it was a very small, intimate ceremony. I've never been the person who wanted a massive wedding. I've always been the person who wanted my nearest and dearest and people who are aligned spiritually and aligned mentally to share in that experience. And I'm grateful that Omar was also aligned in that way. And yes, we got married. So we are we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary, and that's why I've been busy. Wait, we also had a baby. I also have a son. My son is Isaiah Axel McFarlane, and he was born November 22, 2023. And no, that was not on purpose. Somehow the twos were always prevalent in our relationship. And when I read up on angel numbers and, you know, the numbers that you see in the Bible and what they represent, it was really interesting that the twos have followed us from the moment we met and followed through even with the birth of our son. I went into labor on the 21st of November, and I labored for over 30 hours. Unfortunately, I did have to have an emergency C-section because I wasn't dilating, and my son was in a bit of distress, and his heart rate was plummeting, well, had plummeted. And Dr. Sarah Lawrence made a decision, and our little boy is here. So life was lifing in a really good way. Life was lifing in a way that I wanted to be present to, that I wanted to savor. I wanted to be present to my daughter as I also held her hand and helped her to adjust into this new reality as well. My husband and my daughter have a beautiful relationship. She's very excited with her bonus dad. And all is well. We give thanks. We give thanks. All is well. So I appreciate you guys for your patience. I appreciate you guys for the grace you've extended me. But as back, I'm ready. So let's do this.
Whatever your style, classic, trendy, sophisticated, bold, one thing we all share is our desire to indulge. Velvety and perfectly balanced with just the right amount of spirit, Worthy Park Rum Cream is your perfect pleasure. So whatever your style, indulge in the new Worthy Park Rum Cream. Smooth Jamaican elegance. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
So let us start by answering some of your questions. I threw it out in my socials between Instagram and Facebook as asking, you know, what questions can I answer? Because I know it's been a while and we need to catch up. So we's gonna catch up. I'm gonna answer some of your questions. Starting with, dun dun dun. This question says, how do you balance career, motherhood, marriage, and self-development? I don't know, but when I find out, I'll tell you. Because who told you I'm balancing? A joke. No, it's been an interesting balance because here's the thing. This is the first in my life I actually now have the role of being a wife. And that comes with its own responsibilities. And I love it. I absolutely love being a wife. I enjoy it. Because remember saying, I'm the girl who I love taking care of my family. Acts of service is my love language. So, you know, while my career is really important to me, I feel like I've given a lot of time to my career and I cherish the time that I give to my family. So time spent with my husband is important. We always make sure we do lunch dates. We struggle with evening dates at this point because obviously Isaiah is still quite young and late nights are not my thing. They've never been my thing. I start yawning at 7:30. Bedtime, 8. Actually, 8 is even pushing it. I know my friends would be like, she lie, 7 o'clock she gone to bed. But, so we do date lunches. That's our staple. 2 times a week at a minimum, we go to lunch and we talk, we catch up. Thankfully, I also have in my husband the person who also wakes up at 4 a.m. So we also have that time to make sure we connect. So we sit down and have our warm drinks together. You know, especially on the mornings that I have TV. Yes, I'm back in the morning TV space. I've actually been on CVM Sunrise for a year now. Woohoo! So also back in the TV space, which has been exciting. On those mornings, most mornings, my husband will bring my green tea for me and we sit down together and we catch up and we talk. He walks me out the door and that's also a moment that we take to, you know, connect. But that also feels good in terms of honoring my own desires as a career woman as well. The beauty of doing morning TV is that I get to come home and spend time with my son. And I cherish being able to have that quality time with him. And obviously the mornings I don't have TV, I love the ride to school because we's gonna talk. So my daughter is also at the stage now where we jam sessions. So she gets the aux, we put on some tunes and we vibe out on the way to school. So the balance is really real. And the most critical part of that question is the self-development part. I always make sure I still make time for my morning prayers. I make time for centering myself and doing what I need to stay in the middle. Obviously, that is quite a challenging juggle with an almost 13-year-old and a son who is a year and 2 months. But that for me looks like my prayer time, my reading. I still love to read. So I get lost in books. Unfortunately, I don't finish a book in a week or 2 weeks anymore. It takes me about a month because I'm juggling. But I give myself grace because it's just like, oh, I have added responsibilities, right? So it's always finding time to do a bit for myself, to make sure my husband feels like a priority and that my children also feels like a priority. So yeah, I try and be intentional about how I spend my time is the short answer to that question. So this question is, how did you bounce back physically after having 2 kids? And how is it being a full-time working mom? Girl, I was tired. I was tired. Sometimes it's surreal. I still pinch myself. I have that, you remember when Beyonce won the Country Grammy Award? And she went, I'm just like, I have 2 kids. What? It's still really surreal. But yeah, it's, as I just alluded to, it's a balance. But how did I do the physical stuff? That was harder this time, if I'm being absolutely honest. I still have a little bit of a FUPA. Y'all know what I mean? FUPA, fat upper area. Because I had an emergency C-section. So my body hasn't responded the way it did when I had my daughter, because obviously I was 27 when I had my daughter. I was 38 when I had my son. So completely different in terms of my metabolism, in terms of just what my body can do in a realistic way. But I remember when I got my clearance from my doctor that I could exercise, I would go I'd go on the treadmill and at least do half an hour. And I'll share a video with you guys of like, I allowed myself to just do what I could do. I didn't push too hard because on this occasion, I wasn't too worried about the bounce back. I was more worried or focused on my mental health. And the exercise became the thing I needed to stay in the center. It gave me clarity of mind. It gave me something to look forward to. And it gave me something to allow myself to love on myself. So that was more of my focus. I also got into Pilates. And Pilates really helped me to, again, connect with my center and my core. I used to do Pilates when I was doing my BFA in dance. That was a part of our curriculum, actually, when I was in New York. And I love Pilates. And so it was nice to also kind of feel like I was reconnecting to things that I used to do when I had complete autonomy of self and I wasn't tethered to a single person. But more than that, I was grateful for the physical benefits and breastfeeding. Also, let me share this video here. I was breastfeeding and I was pumping, and that definitely also helps. All right. Next up is, dun dun dun. How are you dealing with a high schooler and a toddler? Each of them needs their individual attention and time. And I have to find the time for them. And more than anything, with my daughter, what I've always done is always had open channels of communication. We talk, and we talk a lot. And she knows she can share respectfully, and obviously within, she stays appropriate. She's an appropriate kid. She's age appropriate, right? So we talk, and she knows she can share. And so she's going through a lot of physical changes. She's going through a lot of developmental changes. She's in a new environment and, you know, having matriculated to high school, and that comes with what it comes with. We know what that comes with. All of us have been there. And so lots of conversation and lots of letting her know that what she's feeling and experiencing is not just her. We've all experienced those changes, and it's normal. So that is what it is. It's the hardest part is giving them time, equal time. That for me is the hardest part. I'm sure God knew what He was doing when He allowed me to have the age gap that I have, because I'm genuinely not sure. Obviously, if I was in the position, I'd have to do it, but I'm not sure how I'd have managed where me have to wipe 2 butter and change 2 sets of diapers. And, you know, be dealing with 2 sets of meltdowns. I'm not sure how I'd manage that. At least, you know, the emotional meltdowns at certain stages look different, right? And I'm grateful for the ability to be able to communicate. So like I look forward to my son being able to communicate the things that make him feel what he feels, so that he doesn't have to communicate via crying. But obviously that's how he communicates now, even though his words are coming and it's nice. But yeah, it's definitely a balancing act, literally. They're at both ends of the continuum. Interesting. How do you choose your destinations? Will you ever do a travel vlog? You know, I made it dance a little bit with the travel vlog idea. You remember how I was doing travel with Yendi? I'm gonna bring that back too. Just saying. Right, Rick? Right, Jason? Good, great. That's my crew I'm talking to. Gonna bring that back. But how do I choose my destinations? So majority of my destinations are actually inspired by the books I read. A lot of them are from, you know, based on where the books are set. And then I also, I love conversations with people. Obviously, that's why I do this. And a lot of it is inspired by other people sharing their travel stories. And then I love history. I feel like I can't say I'm an undercover nerd anymore, because I feel like I blew the cover upon that long time. But I love history, and so I also love biblical history. So biblical history would have led me to traveling to places like Jordan and Israel. Biblical history would have led me, or history, sorry, rather, would have led me to traveling to places like Egypt and Kenya and Tanzania and Rwanda. Oh, you guys, I went gorilla trekking. I went hiking up in the mountains with gorillas. I'll share that with you too. So exciting. These are the things that make me really happy, by the way. So travel feeds my soul. I love travel. And yeah, my money don't spend on clothes and shoes. My money, ha. Spend on travel and food. I'm a pick the school, I pick the school fee. Too funny. Where's the next place you're planning to travel to? I am planning to travel to, let me see, when am I dropping this? Okay, yeah, I'll tell you. So I'm planning to go to Ghana. So my name, Yendi, is a town in North Ghana. And my next travels will be to Ghana. Who happy like me? I'm so excited. That's what's coming next. Happy, you see? I'm so happy. Actually, ironically, someone has said, are you happy? I am. And no, not because of the traveling, not because of sharing about my kids, not because of solely my marriage. I'm happy because I genuinely feel content. I am in a really good place. I am in a place where I genuinely feel like I'm experiencing a lot of synchronicity, where everything just feels aligned. I'm in a place where I feel like most things that I experience feel serendipitous. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a great feeling, yeah. Da, da, da. Huh. What do you struggle with? I struggle the most with feeling like it's not enough. I struggled last year big time. I've actually struggled for the last couple of years because I felt like my ambition was thrown out the window. But I had to remind myself that I had to give myself grace because I brought a child into the world. And that's a big change, and that's something that takes a mental toll, takes a physical toll, is just a big change. And I feel like my career took a little bit of a push to the side, and I genuinely felt like I wasn't doing enough. And I had to remind myself that no, what I was doing in that particular season was enough for that season. And in that season, the focus was my children and my husband and my own mental wellness and my own peace. And I would come back to a point where I would get here and it wouldn't happen before its time. And I'm grateful that my husband was able to say to me, take the time you need to do what you need to do to get back to the middle, to get to a place of being able to do this and pursue my dreams and aspirations again. I'm really grateful for that. That support is not lost on me in terms of it may not be a common thing nowadays. So I'm grateful for that. But my biggest struggle is self-deprecation. I beat up myself. Always, I'm very critical of myself, and I'm working on that still. That's a work in progress. Yeah. You know, I'll actually share something with you. I wasn't even sure I should bring back the show. You know why I wasn't sure? I wasn't sure if you guys were just like, all right, we've moved on. And the encouragement that I get when I go to the supermarket or to school or to the doctor's office or the comment sections on my socials, you guys have no idea how much it means to me. And I thank you for supporting me. I thank you for staying with me. And I'm so glad that we're back here. I appreciate you. So yeah, it's good to be back. And it's enough. This is also enough. Thank you. My favorite vacation spot? Anywhere with is a combination of things. So I like history, I like topography, so I like ocean and mountains and river. I like scenic spots, and I like good food. So anywhere that have that combination, and also anywhere I can just pull out a good book. I love that. And I also really like to sit down and people watch. You know, I love that. So one of my favorite things to do when I go to new spaces is to try a local beer or a local wine. And I will sit down, do like a sundowners vibe, you know. So as the sun is coming down for the evening and you watch people go by, and I sit with a book or have a drink and just enjoy people and have the most casual conversation with the person I'm traveling with, be it my friend or my husband or my daughter. We just love that. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, you want so pretty. Ask my mother and my father. A joke. I'm kidding. Let's see. How was it different having a baby in your 30s versus your 20s? The physicality of it is the biggest difference. I had a lot more energy in my 20s, and my body responded like a 20-year-old body to the entire experience. In my 30s, my pregnancy was much more difficult. I had severe morning sickness, morning, noon, and night sickness. I had to be actually given chemotherapy drugs or the drugs that they give chemo patients rather, to deal with the level of sickness that I had. I would vomit nowhere less than 5 times a day, anywhere from 5 to 15 times a day. So my physically it was really difficult. I was always very fatigued, and I feel like it took a greater toll mentally as well. But my support system, I give thanks. My support system. There's a reason why them say it take a village. This is something you're not supposed to do on your own. It really takes a village, and I'm so grateful for my village, and I love my village so much. So much. 2 questions. This one says, what is one thing you're really looking forward to trying this year? Ooh. And in your experience, what is something you'd advise someone in their 20s to try this year? Something I'm looking forward to trying this year. So I made a list at the top of the year. I'm turning 40 this year. Eek, exciting. And I made a list of 40 things that I wanted to do this year. Big and small. Most of them are small. I mean, I have learned do pottery on there. I have sleeping under the stars on there. I have reading 20 books. Dun dun dun. Remember, so I struggle to get through one for a month, you know. But one of the things that is on my list is actually to master a language. So I speak Spanish, a bit of Spanish, and I want to master a language. And that's something that I would say, if you're in your 20s, you should do. I think you should pick a language, and if you're free, single, and disengaged, and have no responsibilities, travel to a country that speaks that language and immerse yourself. If I could do something right now, as a 20-year-old, that's what I would do. I would actually choose a Spanish-speaking country and live for 3 months. Only because I think it is a brilliant use of the brain to be a polyglot. I mean, at this point, I'm just bilingual. Aiming to be bilingual. But polyglots, I think, are super cool. People who can speak many languages, special, gifted. I think it's cool. Very cool. The other thing I would say is learn an instrument. That's also on my list. I want to learn an instrument. So, yeah. Listen, anything you wanted to do as a child that you didn't get to do that thing. That's my advice. Yeah. How is parenting different with your son versus your daughter? So different. Hey, let's just talk about energy levels. But also, I think a big part of parenting is accepting your child for who they are. I think our responsibility is to mold and shape them and to help them hone in on certain of their innate abilities. But we also have to accept them for who they are. So my son is not going to just sit down and do something for a prolonged period of time because he's a ball of energy. So tons of time outside, no fully run up and down, him playing at the dirt, him go up on the swings, plays a lot with the other kids in our neighborhood. That's the biggest difference. My daughter didn't have that much energy, but also she wouldn't have had the same levels of testosterone. So him just need to get out him energy. But he's so bunununus and he's so pleasant and smiley. What they have in common is how pleasant and smiley and fun and funny that they are. And I love that. But the biggest difference is definitely energy levels. How is Izzy doing in her big sister role? So well. She's such a good big sister. I actually tell Izzy all the time that if I had a sister, I'd want her to be like Izzy. I actually say to her, I would love if you were my sister. She's super sweet. She's super attentive. She's very patient and very kind. But that's who she is in general. So it's lovely to see her extend that to her brother, who we all know she begged for. As in, do we remember the Christmas wish list? She begged for a sibling, so she done got her sibling. So she better be kind, because she asks. Eh? She love him bad. We all love him. Him just nice. Is the baby sleeping good? He's sleeping well. Me's a sleep training mother. So Once them babies start solids, we keep a steady routine so he sleeps really well, and we give thanks for small mercies. Because we all know that waking up in the night ain't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Dun, dun, dun. This is a good one. What is some life advice that you would give to your 15-year-old self, your 25-year-old self, and your 31-year-old self? To my 15-year-old self, I would say, don't small up yourself for anybody. Them going to call enough, and that's okay. Be enough. However, learn time and place. That's what I would tell my 15-year-old self. It's actually what my mom used to tell me. And I had to learn time and place, and I'm grateful for that advice. But I was never, ever told to be less of who I am or to small up myself. To my 25-year-old self, this is going to be controversial, but walk with me. I would say, you feel like you know it all, and you feel like you're big, but you're not. You're just a start live. You're just a come. I remember genuinely thinking that I had it all under control, and with hindsight, I realized that I did barely know nothing. So keep your ears open and listen to people who have lived. Listen to people who have experienced life. And obviously, I'm not talking about people going berate you and small you up. I talk reason and talk life with people who have walked the walk and talked the talk. It's important to listen. Listen. And to my 31-year-old self, I would say, you are this close to caring less and less and less what people think. You're so close. Because you see, by about the time I got to 38, who are you talking about, me? You know me? We don't know each other. Your opinion doesn't carry weight. But it took me a while to get there. I had to understand that it's really only the people that are right around you. Your real people, the people who you connect to on an intimate level, the people who your soul and your gut know say, yeah, my person this, those are the voices you listen to. Those are your sounding boards. Other than that, everyone can have an opinion. Opinions are like a-holes. We all have one. This question is, what motivates you apart from your family? The same thing that has always motivated me. I love life. I'm grateful for life. I understand the fragility of life, having lost my mom at 16. And I'm genuinely grateful to wake up each and every day. And I am motivated to leave an indelible mark. Let me tell you a story. My mom passed in 2002, February 21, 2002. There is not a single day that passes now, in 2025, almost 23 years later, that I go to the supermarket and I don't see someone who says, I went to your mom for Lamaze classes. My mom was a midwife. She delivered babies and she taught Lamaze classes to expectant mothers. There's not a week of my life that I don't encounter someone who says, your mom was fantastic, she was the best. I'm inspired by my mother. My mother never had fame. My mother never had money and wealth. But my mom had impact. And my mom's impact is so lasting that 23 years after she's passed, people still can tell me how she made them feel, how she supported and guided them, and people can still show me them birth certificate with my mother's name on it. That's legacy. What motivates me is that when my eyes shut, I would love to have a legacy that makes my children proud and inspires my children. That's what motivates me. This question is, how does parenting affect you not having your mom around to see and enjoy your womb fruits? I've missed my mom the most since becoming a mom. But I also know that my mom would absolutely yam up these grandbabies. She would be in her element with them. And I also know that, when I say I know, and like I feel it, I know that she would be pleased. She'd be pleased with who they are becoming. I think she would affirm me in my role as a mother. I think she would also affirm me in my role as a wife. And I know that because she set such an example, and I don't think I've strayed too far from her excellent example. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. If I could be half the mother my mom was, I'd have done a good job. And that's my goal, to be honest. That's my goal. It is so good to be back in the space with you guys. It's so good to learn from the conversations I'm going to have coming up in the upcoming season. And it is so good to know that you have Odyssey with Yendi again to keep you company on a Sunday when you pot a bubble. So we're back. Stay with me. I appreciate you. Here we go.
Whatever your style, classic, trendy, sophisticated, bold, one thing we all share is our desire to indulge. Velvety and perfectly balanced with just the right amount of spirit, Worthy Park Rum Cream is your perfect pleasure. So whatever your style, indulge in the new Worthy Park Rum Cream. Smooth Jamaican elegance. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.